Welcome, this is Shake and Bake Racing. Today we'll be going over the track guide to Dragon Trail Seaside. Going into turn 1, we want to focus on being nice and smooth turning in to not unsettle the car. We'll be braking right after the 150. Make sure you look at the entry and the apexes of these corners and then the exit when you're going out to make sure you're carrying all the speed you possibly can be. Going into the next corner, what we want to focus on is lifting up just enough to make sure we get turned in so we don't go off the track. Right here, you want to make sure when you get turned in that you get on the power nice and early and accelerate nice and smoothly. Going over the crest here, we want to stay towards the right, brake right after the orange, and make sure we get nice and turned in so we can hit our apexes through the S's and carry as much speed as possible down this back straight, because when you go too deep or too shallow into the S's that lead to the back straight, you can lose a lot of time. Right here we'll be braking right after the 150. Make sure to get turned in early, catch a little bit of the curb so you can accelerate nice and gradually throughout that exit so you can gain as much speed going into the chicane. When it comes to this particular chicane, what you want to focus on is taking as much curbing as possible and using as much of the road as possible so you have the correct line that will allow you to maximize your time and your speed. Going down this final straight back here, what you want to focus on is staying to the left. Our braking point will be right before the 100. Once you get braked, make sure you turn in nice and smoothly. Get a little bit of the curb on the apex and accelerate gently out of it, just to make sure you don't have any understeer and run off the track. That is the track guide to Dragon Trail. And what we'll be doing next is we'll be using different cars. We'll be using a Group 3 car, a Group 4, and a Group 1, just to kind of give you a reference of what they can do, the little bit of subtle differences that they have. One thing I like to focus on when switching cars is kind of get a better understanding of what they do and how they handle. Gran Turismo has a wonderful little attributes to the cars, so you kind of know what they'll be able to do before you drive them. One thing I like to know when driving a car is how much engine braking it has, and whether or not if it's front wheel drive or rear wheel drive, because it'll really change how the car handles and how you apply the gas and the brake when coming into corners and exiting them. Another thing you really want to know is what gear to be in and how much torque it has, because different cars have different gear setups. So you really want to know your car as well as you know the track, because if you want really fast times and want to be consistent, you really want to know how these cars will handle going in and out of corners. Also, you want to know when to get on the gas and when not to. As I said before, rear and front wheel drive cars handle very differently. Front wheel drive cars usually have a lot of understeer, and once you get on the gas, it'll cause you to go off the track, go very deep a lot of times, and you really don't want that to happen. So you really need to know what car you're driving. We'll be in a Group 4 car now. It's the Ferrari. One thing you really want to focus on when trying to improve your times and just become an overall better driver in a sim racing game is learning where the weight of the car is, which will be in the front when you are under braking. It's because all of the momentum is shifted forwards. That's one reason why when you're braking you can turn in a little bit better, is because all the weight is on the front wheels, and that allows you to turn in better. When the weight's at the back, you have a lot more traction on the back tires, so if it's a rear wheel drive car, you'll be able to generate a little bit more power and stick to the ground a little bit more. When going through corners, you want to make sure the car is pointed where you want it to go so that you don't have to readjust mid-corner. You don't want to be on and off the brake or the gas. So it's very important to keep your car as stable as possible. I know it's very hard with a controller to do that because it's so jerky. If you have a wheel or set up, it's a whole lot easier to achieve. It took me a long time to be able to be smooth and consistent, but once you get the hang of it, you'll see your lap times improve greatly. And I mean, being smooth and consistent applies to everything from the throttle to the gas to turning in to braking. The smoother you are, the quicker your lap times will become. That being said, what we're about to be driving is a Group 1 car, and the Group 1 cars have a lot of downforce and a lot of power, and a lot of times when you drive these cars you feel a lot more confident because of how much grip it has. What you need to be able to do is find the grip in the road cars and the other cars that you'll be driving. They all have enough grip and enough power to have really fast lap times. You just have to be able to extract it from the car, and it all comes with just braking consistently and applying the throttle consistently and braking consistently at the right place. Too many times we want to try to improve our time by braking later, when in reality it's the braking itself, how we do it. One thing that'll greatly improve your ability to set fast laps is just being consistent. Too many people just want to full-blown send it when it really needs to be done as though you're training for something. And what that'll do is allow you to know what's going to happen when you are going into this corner or coming out of an exit. What you really want to focus on every lap that you are driving is just staying focused and learning as much as possible. This is Shake and Bake Racing. Like and subscribe and go fast as possible. Everyone have a good day.